Let's start with language. In Italy, 97.41% are speaking Italian and 13.74% are speaking English. The other languages are French, Spanish, and German. Whether to import the rice or plant it, we should consider the geography of the targeted country. Italy is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea and the land mostly covered in hilly and mountainous land. Most of the land has dark brown podzol, while rice needs semi-acidic soil with little drainage to grow. The plain, which is good for growing brown rice in Italy, is in Po Valley, that only has 1/5 of the total area of the country. Italy has the usual 4 seasons and rice grow better in hot, humid, and wet climate.
Next, looking into the distance for ecoBrown to export from Malaysia to Italy, there are 3 ways that we have shortlisted. Firstly, by plane cargo, which roughly takes 20 hours and 90 minutes. By ship cargo, takes 15 days and 17 hours. And lastly, 6 days and 21 hours by truck on road. Italy's economy has been facing many economic downturns and challenges, which they are dealing most of them at the same time, which is bad news to start with. Italy is one of the countries which has the highest level of national debt in the world as of 2022. Their population is more on the aging side. Their poverty rates are also on the higher side, as well as sluggish growth, a decline by 20% of their GDP and unreliable tax revenues. And on top of that, Italy has been facing these challenges for at least the past 2 decades or more, which proves why the country is in a decline for the past 15 years now. Moving on, there are 3 parts we will be looking at under consumer preferences, which are taste, price sensitivity, and cultural acceptance. Firstly, the Italian palate prioritizes fresh local ingredients. They savor simple ingredients which are also whole, such as olives, garlic, tomatoes, and unprocessed cheese, together with aromatic herbs and spices. Therefore, this shows Italians are not heavy rice consumers. It's a small market to get into. Next, under price, the market for rice in Italy itself is highly price sensitive. For example, indica rice, which they also are exporting, has shown significant price fluctuations. Lastly, cultural acceptance. Most of their foods are solely originated from Italy itself. Therefore, it proves that Italians are not open to accept new food other than their home-based recipes. Even using processed ingredients can trigger them. What more are the dishes?
To identify cross-cultural risk between Malaysia and Italy, we can use Hofstede cultural model. It is a useful framework to differentiate national culture that facilitate communication in business. In this part, we will compare the cultural model in Malaysia and Italy. In terms of PDI or Power Distance Index, Malaysia is a lot higher than Italy, where Malaysians accept hierarchical business structure and subordinates are expected to do as told, while control and formal supervision is disliked by people in Italy. Secondly, Malaysia is a collectivistic society where employees are loyal and treated like a family link. The society emphasizes strong relationship where everyone takes responsibility for fellow members, while in Italy, it is categorized as individualistic society. Thirdly, Italians are highly success-oriented where they enjoy competitiveness, while Malaysia scores below Italy when it comes to motivation on success. Regarding uncertainty avoidance, Italians are not comfortable with ambiguous situations. They always have detailed planning. The combination of high masculinity and uncertainty avoidance makes life a lot more difficult and stressful in Italy. In Malaysia, they have low score in avoiding uncertainty. They are more relaxed and flexible. Lastly, the culture in Italy is restrained, meaning that they have tendency in cynicism, pessimism, and restrained by social norms, while Malaysians' culture is indulgence that have tendency in optimism, enjoying life, and having fun. The only common culture dimension had by Malaysia and Italy is their long-term orientation, which is normative culture. They have respect on traditions and normative in their thinking. Overall, there are more distinction of culture rather than similarity when it comes to Malaysia and Italy.
Moving onwards, here are 3 factors that result in country risk. Firstly, political. Secondly, is economical. And lastly, is their legal system. For political, Italy is known to have a very unstable political system due to the numbers of times they have changed their government. Italy has changed government 70 times in the past 77 years, which on average each government only lasts for 1.1 year. On top of that, Italy practices a coalition government. If the party with the largest number of representatives lacks an absolute majority, it can join with one or more other parties to form a coalition government. Moreover, Italy's level of corruption perception is 62.2 against a global average of 48.4, where they stand in the top 50 of the most corrupted countries list as of 2022. Next, looking into the economical factor, the risk borne will be unfavorable laws and regulation ecoBrown has to bear to enter Italy's market. Businesses starting up in Italy must contend with exhausting governmental procedures and difficulties with decision-making and communication. The average volume per person in the rice market in Italy is expected to amount 13.8 kilos in 2024, compared to 62.7 in Malaysia, which makes it 4.5 times smaller. Lastly, under legal system, Italy has an underdeveloped legal system which has affected the measures they have put in place, as it has often clashed with the country's complex legislative framework, including its tradition of bureaucratic legal drafting, legislative inflation, red tape, and the neglect of previous assessment, as well as the lack of coordination across multiple decision makers. The country has a civil law system which is based on written status and codes, as opposed to common law system that rely on judicial precedent.
One of the currency and financial issues that lead to currency and financial risk is high public debt. Italy is considered to have one of the highest public debt in the Eurozone. In terms of Italy's debt to GDP ratio, it is the second highest compared to other countries and has a percentage of 140. The financial risk of high public debt will result in increased interest rates. This will have a huge impact on imported products and services, as the government will impose or implement austerity measures such as tax increases and spending cuts. Other than that, this makes imported goods, including foreign rice, more expensive for Italian consumers because of the high price of products and services, potentially hindering market entry for new products. Next, Italy faces demographic challenges, which are a rapidly aging population and low birth rates. This is crucial as there will be more elderly people who are not capable of working long hours and doing intense jobs because they are weak and fragile. There will be fewer working class people because of the low birth rates. Because of this, productivity and efficiency would decrease, and the production of goods and services would also decline. Thus, it can be a financial risk as it can slow down the overall economy. But brown rice might be more favored for the older generations because they would prefer healthier alternatives. However, this is considering if they have unlimited money, because the truth is far from reality. This is because the price of brown rice is much more expensive as compared to white rice. Although they would prefer to have this healthier brown rice, they would not be able to afford it in the long run. The people of Italy are much more price sensitive to these products as the inflation rate is high. Thus, it would be unwise to bring brown rice into the market of Italy as it could have adverse effect. The market penetration of brown rice in Italy would most likely fail. One other factor that contributes to currency and financial risk is the inflation rate. A rise in inflation within Italy can trigger an increase in the price of goods and services, subsequently elevating the overall cost of imports. In terms of the brown rice, the cost of it would increase as the inflation rate affects the cost of transportation, fuel prices, and other factors. Consequently, it would make the price of importing rice to Italy very expensive, which will affect the market penetration. Italian consumer may lean towards their familiar day-to-day rice brands because it would be relatively cheaper as compared to imported eco-brown rice. Among other factors include political instability and global market conditions, whereby when external factors such as global economic downturns or financial crisis can impact Italy's economy and financial stability.
One of the factors that contribute to the commercial risk is Italy's market saturation and competition. Rice brands such as Arborio and Carnaroli are the most used in terms of producing dishes like risotto. In terms of brown rice, it will be difficult to penetrate the market as Italians prefer these two brands as their main ingredient, and this signifies strong brand recognition and customer loyalty. The reason for this is that it enhanced the quality and developed the taste of these Italians. More importantly, a shift from white rice to brown rice would not only alter the flavor profile, but also disrupt the traditional origin and culinary style associated with these cherished dishes. Another commercial issue that leads to commercial risk is the business culture. The main aspect that one needs to consider is to show respect when dealing in business. It is crucial to reveal formality when meeting with clients to build good relationship with one another. Referring to their surnames such as Signor or Signora, or even their professional titles such as Dottore, Dottoressa, will effectively assist in easing the business dealing and respect the culture of Italy. If one does not perform this cultural act, it will be difficult to execute business dealing. In terms of ecoBrown rice trying to penetrate the market in Italy, there has to be a good and established relationship so that it will ease the process of importation of rice in Italy. Also, good relationship with this distributor and retailer will help to ensure adequate shelf space and market visibility. Other than that, a commercial issue that leads to the commercial risk is the regulation of products. Products that have an impact on the environment, public health, or safety are probably heavily regulated. EU regulation frequently apply, however, Italian law may surpass the minimum requirements set forth by the EU. For brown rice to successfully be imported into Italy's country, relevant regulation might need to be focused on, for instance, in terms of the specific labeling of food requirement and the organic label must be present, so that they are adhering to the EU regulations on organic farming practice and able to avoid issues at customs or with Italian consumers.
No, ecoBrown should not go into Italy. Due to Italy's 4 seasons, it cannot cultivate rice all year since rice production requires a hot, humid, and wet climate, and the climate in Italy fluctuates. In comparison, Malaysia has a tropical climate with constant rainfall that is appropriate for rice production. Next, given the political situation in Italy, ecoBrown may find it difficult to enter the market. When no single party has a majority, Italy regularly creates coalition governments, which can result in policy changes with every new government. These modifications may make it more difficult for ecoBrown to access markets in a number of ways, such as by enforcing tighter import restrictions, raising taxes, or changing trade laws so that new governments favor native rice growers. Bureaucratic obstacles may also hinder ecoBrown's ability to supply goods on schedule and damage their reputation. These could include modifications to government rules or bureaucracy that cause delays in acquiring import licenses. Furthermore, factors like quality, brand familiarity, and culture perception plays a huge role in Italian consumers. They have their own tastes and preferences in regards to rice aroma, flavor, and texture. Italian consumers might be more accustomed to and trust domestic rice brands such as Carnaroli and Arborio due to their unique characteristics and familiarity with the brands. One other reason is the inflation rate. An increase in Italy's inflation rate will reduce consumers' purchasing power. As a result, people will be more inclined to save more rather to consume, lowering their daily living expenses. Furthermore, consumption of so-called luxury commodities such as brown rice will be reduced as a result of this. Aside from that, with an increasing number of elderly citizens in Italy, the problem that concerns them is health. Switching from white rice to brown rice is a smart idea because it has health benefits. However, only those who can afford it will purchase it, while the rest will stick to their regular rice brands. ecoBrown entering the Italian market would be a bad idea.